All right, welcome to The Explainer. Let's start with a big one. What is the world actually going to look like in the year 2100? I mean, that feels like a totally impossible question, right? But what if I told you there's a way to answer it, and not with just, wild guesses, but with actual science? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dive in using the incredible work of physicist Michio Kaku as our map to the next 100 years. But okay, first things first, we gotta ask, why is predicting the future so incredibly hard? I mean, we've all seen those forecasts that, looking back, are just hilariously wrong.
Oh, yeah, these are some of my favorites. You've got H.M. Warner basically saying, "Who wants to hear actors talk?" right before talking pictures took over everything. Then there's the chairman of IBM thinking the entire world market for computers was maybe five. Just five. And of course, Ken Olsen, the founder of a huge computer company, literally saying there's no reason for a home computer. It's just wild. It goes to show you that even the absolute experts, the people right in the thick of it, can get it so wrong.
So, how do we avoid making those same mistakes? Well, according to Michio Kaku, the secret is pretty simple. Stop speculating and start looking. His predictions aren't some sci-fi fantasy. No, they're all grounded in real, prototype technologies that are being built right now in labs all over the world. And that's the key takeaway here, folks. The future isn't some mystery. The foundations for it are already being built as we speak. Okay, so before we jump into all the cool, futuristic tech, we have to tackle the single biggest roadblock, the one thing that will ultimately decide if any of this stuff actually takes off. And that one thing? It's us. It's our own human nature. Kaku has a great name for this. He calls it the caveman's veto. And this idea is so important. Think about it like this. Our hardware, our brains, is basically running on software that's 100,000 years old, an ancient operating system. I mean, anatomically, we are identical to our ancestors from way back then. So when you have a showdown between some shiny brand new technology and our ancient deep-seated desires for things like status or connection or just basic safety, well, those primitive desires are going to win every single time. And you see this play out everywhere. Remember when they promised us the paperless office? How'd that work out? Yeah, we still print stuff out because that primitive part of our brain wants that physical thing in our hand, that proof of the kill, as Kaku calls it. Or what about the idea that we'd all just work from home and cities would be empty? Nope. We crave that face-to-face contact. We need to read body language to build trust. And the internet was supposed to kill TV, right? But it didn't, because we're still drawn to that digital campfire. We want to gather around and see the story for ourselves. And the flip side of this principle is just fascinating, because it explains, well, pretty much all of modern society. You know our obsession with gossip and social media? That's not new. It's an ancient tribal instinct. Knowing who's in, who's out, who's a threat, that was crucial for survival. The only thing that's changed is that technology has taken that impulse and just cranked the volume up to 1 billion. And voila, you get our modern world of celebrity culture and social media. All right, so now that we have that lens, the caveman principle, let's look at the future. Let's talk about the incredible tech that won't just survive this human filter, but will actually thrive because of it. We're talking about technologies that will give us powers that until now were literally the stuff of gods and myths. And this quote really sets the stage. By 2100, we'll be able to manipulate objects with our minds. Now, he's not talking about magic here. This is all about technology. We are right on the edge of gaining almost godlike control over our world in 3 massive areas: our minds, our bodies, and matter itself. So first up, power over the mind. Here's a wild thought. The ultimate goal of the computer is to become invisible. Think about electricity. It's everywhere, right? It's in your walls, powering everything, but you don't see it. You just use it. That's where computers are headed. They're going to completely disappear into the fabric of our lives, becoming this silent, invisible utility that just carries out our wishes. And that taps right into that deep, primitive desire for effortless control over our environment. And you can actually see this happening in clear stages. It's a totally predictable path. We started in stage 1, where computers were these rare giant machines shared by a whole factory. Then came stage 2, the personal computer, one on every desk. Right now we're deep in stage 3, the networked era, where everything's connected by the internet. So what's next? Stage 4, invisibility, where chips and processing power are just everywhere and nowhere, woven into the world around us. Okay, next up, power over the body. The revolution in biotech is basically giving us what you could call a human body shop. Seriously, Right now, scientists can already grow new skin, new cartilage, even entire organs like bladders and windpipes using a patient's own cells. The end game here? To be able to grow and replace any organ that fails, completely on demand. I mean, this is technology directly tackling our most basic, primal instinct of all, the will to survive and beat our own biological clock. And just stop and think about the implications of that for a second. It's absolutely staggering. When you combine gene therapies that can repair the damage of aging with this ability to just grow new parts for yourself, our whole idea of a lifespan gets thrown out the window. Cuckoo predicts that by the later half of this century, living to be 150 years old, or even older, might not be some crazy sci-fi dream. It could just become normal. And finally, we have power over matter itself. This is the realm of nanotechnology, the science of building things atom by atom. The holy grail here is something you've probably seen in sci-fi, the replicator, a machine that can take raw materials, rearrange the atoms, and create pretty much anything you want. Talk about a direct line to a primitive desire. This is about creating a world of total abundance, a world without scarcity. So, let's put it all together. We're on the verge of these godlike powers over our minds, our bodies, and the very matter that makes up our world. But where does all this lead? What's the end game? According to Kaku, all of this is pushing us toward one single, massive moment of truth, a turning point he calls humanity's final exam. And that exam is about becoming what physicists call a type I civilization. Now, this isn't just a small step up. It's what's known as a phase transition. Think of it like water turning into ice. It's a fundamental change in our state of being. A type I civilization is a planetary one. It's a civilization that has harnessed all the energy available on its home planet. And that leads to a completely integrated global society. One culture, one economy, one communications network. Where are we now? We're a Type 0 civilization. We're still powering our world mostly by burning dead plants, oil and coal. To make the jump to Type 1, the amount of energy we need to control is just massive. The leap is enormous. But here's the incredible part. Based on his calculations, Cuckoo believes we are on track to make that leap, to pass that test, within the next 100 years. And if you look around, you can already see the signs of this transition happening, the birth pangs, you might call them. We have a planetary internet. We have a global economy where a crisis in one corner of the world sends shockwaves everywhere else. We're seeing the rise of a planetary middle class, and even a planetary language in English. These aren't just random things happening. They're all puzzle pieces, all signs pointing to this massive and maybe even inevitable transformation. But this is where the exam part comes in. All of this incredible power, it's a double-edged sword. It's totally neutral. Science doesn't have a moral compass. It just gives us power. The same technology that could cure all disease could also be used to create terrifying weapons. And that is the fundamental choice. That is the test that we face. Cuckoo argues that our generation, right now, might be the single most important generation in human history because we're the ones who have to make that choice. So in the end, this isn't really a question about technology at all, is it? It's a question about us. The science says that by 2100, we'll have the power of the very gods our ancestors worshipped. The real question is, will we have the wisdom to go with it? That's the test. And that's the question that this century is going to answer for all time.